Hey everybody, here again another one. Today I'm here to check out Death Note Season 1 Episode 3. So that's where I left off. The rivalry between Light and L began. So yeah, what's gonna happen here? Because it's gonna be an interesting battle of wits that they're gonna have to go through. And I'm all here for it. So hey, nothing more to be said. Let's get into this. Dealings.
All right, let's start with the tip line reports.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email. Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim
Prank
to either know
calls
Kira
during a
or who have seen him.
Murder search.
All 14 accounts were followed up on and carefully documented. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira.
Wow.
We didn't want to rule anything out, so we followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
All right, on to the victim reports.
Yes, sir. Upon further investigation, we have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays, local time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
Okay, so now you know this man's in school. This man's doing it after school hours. That's how you get him. Okay, so now it just lessens the
That
suspect.
information is extremely relevant for us. It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student.
Yep, there you go.
Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong.
Exactly.
Of course, this is mere speculation at this point, but still I recommend you re-examine any assumptions you've made as to whether or not our suspect could be a student. We must consider every possibility. I believe that is the shortest route to finding and
I mean,
arresting
it's either a
Kira.
student or someone that works a
Continue
9 to
with your
5.
Oh, right.
But even then,
Does anyone
a
else
9 to
have something
5
they'd like to add?
will keep you away longer.
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Students have more time in their hands than adults.
Well, I'm
that
not
have
saying
9
this to
5
support
jobs.
Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the
Also, he
world,
said weekdays,
but especially
too,
here in
so
Japan,
it can't be a
we've
week- it
observed
can't
a
be an
dramatic
adult 'cause they
decrease
also
in the
work on
number of
weekends
violent
most
crimes committed.
Well, I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
No.
Well, that about sums up our report for today. L?
Thank you, everyone. I feel we're one step closer to finding Kira. Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. This is directed to the teams investigating the victims, TV news, and internet. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos
It's funny. I think when I started watching Death Note, I think I got this show confused with a different show about some guy that could like kill people when he like did like a finger gun motion. He's like bop, bop or something. I don't know. CJ the Champ did a video on it a while ago, and I think I'm mistaken. So I think I'm mistaken a few things for Light Yagami and that guy, even though I know it's like two
of the
different
victims
people.
were made available to the
The
public
thing
in
about him just
Japan.
killing random people just made me think about that whoever that person was.
Chief,
I don't even know if y'all know who I'm talking about.
look like you could use one of
Maybe
these.
y'all do.
Sleeping
and I
much?
just am bad at
Thank you.
explaining.
That'll do the trick. I feel all these late nights are starting to take their toll.
about what I said earlier at our meeting. Well, now that I think about it, I'm sure everyone already knew that. I wanted to apologize.
What on earth are you talking about? Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done, especially when it's something that isn't easy to say. Having said that, if you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of reducing violent crime, Then yes, I might have had a little problem with that.
Oh no, no, I wouldn't. That would never happen.
I'm just kidding.
I knew I could count on you, Light.
Hey, so do you think you're ready to try a few on your
I guess
own
it's
now?
like the old saying, the path.
Yeah,
What's the
I
saying?
guess
The path
so.
of good is led with.
Oh,
I don't know.
sounds like Dad's
something
home.
something bad intentions.
Welcome
or
home,
something
dear.
something good intentions. I don't
Thank
know.
you.
he's home
The
really
road to
early
evil is
today.
filled with
Hey,
good intentions.
Why
That's
don't you
what
at
it
least
is,
try the
I
last
think.
problem by yourself?
I will, but maybe after dinner.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. She's probably been stuck in that
Helping your
room like
sister
all
with
day
her
long. I'd be
homework,
hungry
you
too,
sure
to
are
be honest.
relaxed.
Of course.
Especially
If
when
the police
somebody
try to come
says
after
food's
me, I'm pretty
downstairs,
confident
like,
I've
I'm
got
going to
something
eat.
that'll give me
I've been
the
working all day
advantage.
long. Kinda hungry right now, to be honest. They didn't
Hey,
make much
glad
for
you could
dinner.
join us for dinner. You hungry, Dad?
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Oh dang, and he's part of the people trying to find him.
So, Light, tell me, how are your studies going?
Everything's okay, I guess.
Whatever, he's at the top of his class. My big brother's a genius.
That's my son. We're all proud of you, Light.
Is everything okay, Dad?
Dang,
You look
got a
tired.
murderer upstairs
Yeah,
in your house.
I'm not able to say too much about it, but this case I'm working on now is really tough.
I see. Well, Daddy's a policeman. And that
This
must
man-
be the reason why
this
you're
man
so
Ryuk's just having the time of
confident.
his freaking
That's
life.
right. It's easy for me to hack
Just
into
the
Dad's
watcher
computer
out
or
this
on a home
morning.
network so I can copy the files I need without leaving a trace. This way I can keep track of their investigation. Here we go.
Okay then.
Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
Oh boy, what type of XYZ concoction did you create, Lights? There's always
If the
something.
cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person
I
will
was gonna
simply die of a
memorize
heart
it.
attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Ryuk?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I? Looks like I'll be able to provide you with more
Dang.
entertainment now.
Now he's just gonna write the deaths to happen after. He's gonna mess up the whole time span of. Dang. Dang. He got him. Bro, I'm liking this show so far. It got you thinking. Now it's gonna just mess up the whole date of they gather. Bro's gonna make it happen at 6 p.m. not bro's gonna cause a death in school hours. At lunch, dude's eating lunch in the cafeteria and murdering people.
Inmate 148, what's wrong? Snap out of it!
Bro, you gotta be kidding. This man's he's serious.
What?
Bro, imagine if,
I don't believe this.
crazy thing is, imagine if you were falsely convicted too. Like you were falsely convicted of the crime and your name got published and you still were the body that got caught because you were thought to be the criminal. Like that's one flaw in this metrics of killing criminals is the fact that some
Another
of these
23
guys
victims yesterday?
were
Are these
put
confirmed?
there,
Yes.
were put there unwarranted.
The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
It does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not. Anybody can skip 2 days of school.
You're missing the point. It does appear less likely now that Kira's a student. But that's not the message he's sending by doing this. Ask yourselves, why every hour? And why are all these victims in prisons where they are sure to be discovered immediately? Why not other criminals like before? I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
But then again, I would think, wouldn't that make it more obvious that he is in fact a student? Because the moment after y'all figure it out, now this is happening more randomly than it used to. So wouldn't that now make you think he's doing this on purpose to make us think he's throwing us off? That's something that I would also be thinking, right? Because if it was just a random guy that just and all of a sudden now it's changing, I feel like I mean, I don't know. They would have no idea to know if he really got him or not, but I feel like what I said is still left up to debate, but I'm pretty sure that's not what they're gonna think anyway.
But something's not right. As soon as we began to suspect
Also,
that
sorry if I
Kira
talk a
might be
lot
a
in my
student,
videos, but
the
I
pacing
guess
of the killings
that's what
changed,
the
as
nerd
if to
part of my
contradict that theory.
channel name is for.
Coincidence?
I talk about
No.
stuff that's
Too
specific.
convenient. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information. It's obvious now. This is a direct challenge to me.
I'd say Al is probably starting to sweat a little by now. What'll really make his job difficult is that I've deliberately left about 50 criminals alive for times like this.
Oh?
If Al's as good as they say, by now he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Okay, this man
So
really is just a
Kira has
genius.
found a way to obtain information from the task force headquarters. This is one fact that cannot be ignored. But what does he get out of all this? What is he hoping to achieve in the end?
There's one thing I don't get. Showing them you have connections to
I'm
the police
assuming
makes it easier for them to find you than when they
some
just
form of
suspected you were
world
a
peace.
student.
Well, my real agenda is to get close to Al so I can eliminate him.
How are you gonna do that?
You still don't understand human beings. In this world, there are very few people who actually trust each other.
Apparently, neither are
And it's
you.
no different for the police, you know. What's especially important is that Al and the investigators don't trust each other at all. Think about it. Could you trust someone whose name and face you don't even know? When Al discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. When that happens, it'll only be a matter of time before the police start resenting Al. On the surface, it will appear that Al and the investigation team are working together to try to catch me. But in reality, Al will investigate the police, and they will be investigating Al. I'm not the one who's going to find Al. I can let the police do that for me. And when they do, that's when I'll eliminate him.
Okay, this is almost halfway over. Okay, what happens now? I don't know why that felt like an episode ending or something.
What's this about?
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning. We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Why? You're good cops.
Isn't it clear? It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what Al says is true, Kira has some ESP-like power that somehow allows him to kill people indirectly, from anywhere.
Well, if I were Kira, sir, I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who are trying to catch me.
Let's face it, he knows he'll be
Yeah,
sentenced
that
to
is
death if he's
fair.
caught.
We all sat here
Dang.
and watched when
Are
El
they gonna get other
decided to
people
pull
to
that
follow him?
media stunt and challenged Kira to kill him. Well, it was all very impressive at the time. But then again, El never had to show his face or reveal his name, for that matter. I'm sure you recall El's last request. He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available to the public prior to their deaths. Well, it turns out he was right. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died. Unlike someone we know, we're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them. Anybody with a computer
Yeah.
can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces, we're out in the open.
Sir, the truth
Y'all
is
ain't
we
got
could
no
be killed by Kira at
Batmans.
any
Y'all ain't got
time.
no Spider-Man.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us.
I don't know how
Chief.
many other people I can name because a lot of
Hey,
people don't have
stop!
secret identity.
All of you! Hold it right there!
What else? You ain't got no Static Shock. I'm pretty sure he has a secret identity.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept that x squared equals large X. Now pay attention because this is important. Before we tackle more complex quadratic equations, we have to start thinking of large x's value as simply the multiple of two integers.
Y'all at school and this is dark outside? Oh, never mind. I'm about to say, why is it pitch black outside?
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
And this is the complete list?
Yes.
There are 141 people in the police force who have access to classified information regarding the investigation. I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Light, you got a second?
I already told you you can't talk to me in public. How many times do I have to tell you?
In that case, I'll talk, you just listen. If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side.
Actually, I didn't think about that. What happens when the book runs out of pages? Unless this man's really gonna do the most and staple some more papers in that mug. How is he? What's gonna happen when the pages are like, that's another flaw in this man's path. That book is gonna run out of pages eventually. I think it will, or maybe it's like magic. I don't know. Unless he can like erase. No, I think he's using the pen for all this. But basically, things gonna run out of pages. What happens when, like, then this man's whole mission is gonna be screwed because eventually he's gonna kill everyone he possibly could have, and then like start all the way over.
Well, I knew that much already.
You'll never hear me say anything about whether what you're doing is right or wrong. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion. I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
Wasn't William Dafoe
What's
this guy
this
in the live
about?
action version?
Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
Sweating. I mean, what do you do? Do you turn around? Do you run? What?
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Wait, but you don't know his
Who would be
name.
following me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police?
Did you just say that earlier?
If he's gonna investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior.
He's
But
gonna
the
start
longer I
lowering
let this
his
person
grades
keep
on
following
purpose.
me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above all, I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light. I'm gonna...
Okay, now this man's just Okay, now he's about to completely leave the path he was on before. Now he's just taking out anyone who's trying to find out what he's doing. Before it was just criminals for the sake of, I don't know, causing world peace. Now he's really just it's turning. He's just starting to become a
Let you in on a
psychopath.
little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You know, you sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for
All
ourselves.
these answers, and I'm just real
Wait,
late.
what
I'm
do you
just
mean
having
by
fun
that?
while I can.
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life. So it means that as long as we don't slack off, even if someone was to shoot us in the head or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand, no matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase. That is the first difference between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
Okay, I'm about to say, don't make this man
That's
think he's
something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before. Pretty interesting stuff.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. And do you have any idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Their name and lifespan?
That's right. I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now. If I converted that to human time, I could tell you how many years you've got left, but there's no way I'd ever tell you that. I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far. Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. And every time we do take a life, we always know exactly how many years we're going to receive. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I. However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami.
Dang it.
But only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
And what's the deal?
It's called dealing.
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Half of my remaining lifespan?
Yeah.
But what if you die at like 30? You're gonna die like in a year or something.
In other words, if you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25. If it was one more year, then 6 months.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I wanted to kill. Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
I know
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them. If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, what'll it be, Light?
Yeah,
Is it a deal?
live long. He just keeps getting more cheat codes, bro. It's like for every loss he takes, he gains another dub. I guess, is that like a common thing for this show? For every loss he takes, it turns back into a dub? I don't know, man. Now it's gonna get a whole lot worse. Yeah, this man is really doing all this because I don't know, it just seems like such a drastic change in mindset from just being a regular dude at school to doing all of this. To the point where it's just like, I get why he's doing it, but there's just so much flaws in his logic. But I guess that's just how humans are. When you set your mind to something, we don't let it go. Especially if we genuinely think it's the right thing to do for not just us, but for humanity in a sense. Like a lot of people say they can save humanity, but people can't save humanity. I'm sorry to tell you, but I mean, you can play a part in helping humanity, but in terms of saving the whole thing, nah, it's not possible. Only one person can save humanity, and it ain't nobody that's walking around on this ground. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I think that works. I was trying to think of like my word terminology, but yeah, he's not walking on the ground. Sorry. I really am to know it. I'm just here thinking about myself, but hey, I guess nothing more to be said. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and God bless.